Another BTS reaction. MCA.
DJ.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If you've been watching this for a while, you know how much we like Baepsae.
Yes.
And that list is getting very long, by the way, of songs we like.
Yeah.
But we don't know what Baepsae is about other than what people have said in the comments. And people have asked us to watch the explained version of Baepsae.
Baepsae.
So we're going to do that right now. There's that dance I like.
In light of BTS's new comeback, we are taking a look at their fiercest and most political song, Baepsae. First of all, you need to know this Korean idiom. 뱁새가 황새를 따라가면 다리가 찢어진다. It means when you try to do something that's out of your reach, out of your capabilities, then you will likely fail. Crow tits or Baepsae have short legs,
That's a cute
but
bird.
storks have very long legs. So obviously a crow tit trying to catch up to a stork will likely fail. Here the storks are referring to people in power, the big companies, conglomerates, and older generations. And in this video, I will focus on the last meaning of older generations because the previous two meanings have been covered a lot by other explanations. Here, BTS is using crow tits as a metaphor for the younger generation, or the millennials of South Korea. They are trying very, very hard to catch up with their parents' generation, the baby boomers, or the storks.
I'm not a boomer.
They also use another metaphor of teacher to refer to the older generation who are born with a golden spoon. They say this because during the ages of the baby boomers in South Korea, they were experiencing huge economic growth and it was extremely easy to get jobs, get housing, and stuff like that. But the economy in South Korea is now at its maturing stages, and the side effects of ultra-fast economic growth have boomeranged to haunt the current generation. Currently, the millennials are facing extremely high pricing of houses, as well as high disparity between the rich and the poor, and also extreme all-time high youth unemployment. In this verse, BTS addresses the social injustices that millennials commonly face in Korean society. For example, passion pay. This is a very common practice in Korean society where companies basically pay young workers below minimum wage or nothing at all in return for experience. The company's logic is because they are offering a job and an experience that many young people have passion for, they are the ones that are actually doing the service for the young people. Enposede is another newly made word that is used to describe the millennials of this decade. They are a generation that have basically given up what many consider to be basic human rights and wants because of extremely high youth unemployment rates and also very low wages compared to living costs. We have many different variations of Enposede to describe the millennials of South Korea. It originally started from Samposede, which is used to describe the millennials that have given up dating, marrying, and giving birth due to economic instability. Then it evolved to Oposede, which added giving up employment and buying your own house. And then it evolved into Chilposede, which added human relationships and hope. Now the word Enposede is most commonly used because they have basically given up all their dreams and hope. In these lines, BTS talks about their want to change the system. The word 정상 in the last lines has a double meaning. First, it means normal, and second, it means top. So basically, not only is BTS talking about how this is not a normal situation, society is sick, but also they are saying we are not at the top yet and we have to push further. Here, BTS addresses how the older generation blames the millennials for their struggles, saying that it is due to a lack of effort. The word 노력 is pronounced 노력 by BTS, And this is a very commonly used internet slang among millennials to sarcastically describe how the older generation blames them for the lack of effort. Baby boomers often neglect the fact how society is completely different now compared to when they were growing up, and also the economic situation is completely different. They also neglect the fact that a lot of the economic problems that these millennials face today were in fact caused by baby boomers. For example, housing prices that are extremely high so that millennials have basically given up buying their houses. These were driven up by baby boomers buying multiple houses in speculation and for investment purposes. Yet many baby boomers simply neglect the fact and tell the millennials that they should try harder, work harder, so that you can perhaps buy a house 20 years later. On the surface level, these lines just simply seem like a cry for help, a call for a helping hand. However, the word Baepsae in the very last line is a very clever play on words. Basically, this word would sound like a curse word to the Korean ear. It sounds very, very similar to shipseya or keseya, which are both very serious curse words in South Korea. So not only are they crying for help, and not only are they asking the protests to unite, but they are also calling the older generations.
Well, that's interesting.
Wow.
That's pretty much what everyone said in the comments that I
Yeah.
read.
That's what it was.
You're a millennial.
Millennial, yeah. And
Of course, this isn't Korea because I think this is referring to Korea, but
right.
there are a lot of similar things here. We have internships here
Yeah.
where you work for free for experience.
Yeah. That is
Sometimes they're
very true.
paid internships.
Sometimes, yeah.
I don't know. DJ is a millennial.
Yeah.
You're the crow tit.
I guess I'm a crow tit, right?
And does that make me the stork?
The stork.
We might have very different opinions on what this is about.
Right.
Not what it's about, but if we agree with it.
If we agree. I don't see how your generation buying houses.
Well, the boomers aren't my generation. If they're
I guess that's
specifically
true.
referring to baby boomers, that's my dad's generation.
Right. How them buying houses affects us.
Could drive up the price of homes. You bought a house.
Yeah.
You bought a great house. Very nice house. You've seen our house in our
Yeah.
other channel. I think this isn't anything new.
Yeah.
An older generation thinking that the younger generation
harder.
should work harder.
That's nothing new.
They have it easier. That's not new.
That's not new.
That's when I was young. The older generation, the golden
Yeah.
generation or the greatest generation, and the boomers would tell us, "You guys don't care about a thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing you care about. Your generation is lost." That's what we heard, and you know that you're just young and you grow out of things, you know. So they're not necessarily correct there,
Right.
right? We blamed boomers.
Yeah.
Boomers ruined everything.
For everything.
You know, that's kind of that's a big generation too. The baby boomers, that's a long span of generations, or in the generation of ages, and we blamed them for a lot of things.
Because really, I mean, we do have it kind of easy.
Well, if you
that-
really compare what life was like back then versus now,
Yeah.
there weren't conveniences
No.
like that.
Like even when my daughter gets to my age, things will be way easier for her than it was for me.
In some ways, I'm sure, but the addition of social media changes a lot of things.
Technology,
Yeah.
crazy.
That's a long explanation of me saying that I think that the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Good way to put
And
it.
that seems like, for me, everything.
Yeah,
It's always truth on both sides that people believe.
it's true. It's true.
And there's also exaggerations on both sides.
Yeah.
And for me, usually it's always in the middle, somewhere. It may favor one side or the other,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm neither generation that they talked about.
Right.
But it's probably somewhere in the middle. And there's also the dynamic of being in another country.
Yeah.
Because I
That is
think
true.
they're specifically referring to
Korea.
maybe they're not. Maybe they're saying that's the way it is.
Worldwide, kind of.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that song was that deep.
Yeah, I think it's a real clever way of getting across this message.
Mm-hmm.
It
Very.
really is.
Very.
I don't know that I would take sides either way because, I don't have either of their experiences.
Yeah.
Or I guess I could say I have both because I have been the crow tit.
Yeah.
And it just seems like everybody else had everything and I had nothing.
Right.
And now I'm the stork.
Because you probably have everything, and then.
And now people will look at me and say, you have everything, but that's because I spent 30 years
Getting to where
working
you are.
every day.
Working hard every day.
So do you have to work harder? No. I would say give it time.
Really? Yeah.
You really have to just give it time.
It's almost like anything. Sports, too.
Yeah, you're not going to be a world-class athlete overnight.
Yeah, because you'll look at.
It takes effort and practice.
Yeah, a professional.
You're
be
not
like,
going to dance
Right.
like BTS
Like, why are they
by
so
rolling
good?
out of bed and just dancing.
They practice.
It takes effort, and I think that's what they mean by work harder.
Work harder.
And it will come if you put in the hours.
Yeah,
You're going to get to where they are, and you're going to end up being the stork.
exactly. So I think I'll agree on that. Work harder. Work hard at what you want to do, and you'll get there.
Be patient.
Be patient, yeah. It's not going to come right away.
But on the other hand, the older generation doesn't need to look down
Right.
on the younger generation
Yeah.
because they were that younger generation at one point, and their
They were-
parents were telling them to work harder.
Yeah.
So you've experienced it, so maybe
Yeah.
don't treat the younger generation the way you were treated.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody agrees with anything that I just said,
Or me. I don't
but
know.
that's just my take on it
It was good.
with my experience that I've had in life.
Yeah.
Be subscribed.
Notified.
Petrified.
And horrified.